ticket to the Beatles way back on this day in 1966. More about that later. And the first pitch to Seguin, 1 ball and no strikes. The Beatles were here on this day 50 years ago. We had 45,000 here. They were not allowed on the field. And the performance started at 9:30. It was over at 10. Beatles performed 11 songs in 27 minutes. 2 balls and no strikes. Foul back. The big thing and the story was what happened when the Beatles finished and were going to lead. They had a Lincoln Continental that was waiting to get them out of the ballpark and on the way to wherever they wanted to go. Ground ball to the right side, going back to smother it is Zobrist, and he can't do it. Ball gets away from him, and Seguin is aboard, and it'll be a base hit. So a leadoff single by Rob Seguin. That'll bring up Yasmani Grandal. So the idea was the car with the Beatles would exit the ballpark and clear out. But the fans, there must have been 10,000 kids waiting beyond the pavilion, and they were frenzied. They pulled off the car's hood ornaments, side mirrors. The car was stuck in a virtual sea of humanity. So they moved the car with the Beatles back out onto the field and went all the way back to the Dodger dugout. The Beatles jumped out and went back to the Dodger clubhouse trying to figure out a plan of escape. That's ball 1 to Grandal. So a new plan was devised. They'd use the armored car to depart as they used to arrive. But someone had let the air out of the tires during the show, and the car couldn't really work. So they decided, okay, how to sneak the Beatles out. And they got an ambulance. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's a little high, ball 2-0. And the Beatles were put into the ambulance. They were covered with blankets, with lights flashing, sirens blaring. The ambulance seemed a reasonable bet to get through the crush of kids beyond center field. And the plan was once they got through the kids, they would get out to the 76 station. They would get out of the ambulance into the armored car, now with fully inflated tires. That's a strike, 2-1. Again, something went wrong. The driver had navigated through the fans, hit the gas, and the ambulance ran over a speed bump. And would you believe the radiator fell out of the ambulance? I mean, can you imagine the Beatles stranded in Dodger Stadium? Here's the 2-1 pitch to Yasmani Grandal. Fastball, foul back. Well, that got that armored car to rescue them. The kids had figured out what was going on, and the armored car was surrounded by fans, unable to move in any direction. But suddenly the Beatles caught a break. From out of nowhere, the Hells Angels showed up, encircled the armored car, led the Beatles out of the parking lot and on out into the night. What a story. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that's low. Next night, the Beatles were in San Francisco at Candlestick Park, and that would be their final live performance before an audience. They became entirely studio-based the next 3 years. The Beatles came to L.A. 50 years ago today.